The security monitor blinked, and for half a second, I saw myself standing behind me. I spun around so fast my chair nearly tipped over, heart hammering, breath caught halfway in my chest. There was no one there. Just the empty convenience store, just me, just another night shift. That's what I told myself. But the camera feed was still paused, and the timestamp was 30 seconds in the future. I work nights because nothing ever happens at night. That's what the manager told me when I took the job. Less customers, less stress, easy money. Just keep the place locked, restock shelves, and watch the cameras. From midnight to 6 a.m., it's just you and the hum of the refrigerators. At least, it's supposed to be. The first hour was normal. Too normal. The kind of quiet that makes you aware of every tiny sound. Fluorescent lights buzzing, ice shifting in the freezer, my own breathing sounding louder than it should. Then, the motion sensor chimed. I looked up at the front door. Nothing moved. The doors hadn't opened. No footsteps. No shadows passing the glass. The sensor chimed again. I checked the cameras. Aisle 1 empty, aisle 2 empty, storage room empty. Then I reached camera 7, the back hallway. Something moved. Not walked, not ran. It leaned into the frame like it had been waiting for me to look. I leaned closer to the monitor, squinting. The footage was grainy, like always, but I could make out a shape. Tall, too tall. Shoulders hunched at an angle that didn't look right. Then it stepped back out of view. The motion sensor stopped. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because laughing felt safer than being silent. Probably a glitch. Old cameras do that. The building's ancient. The wiring's shot. Everyone knows that. Still, I locked the office door behind me when I stepped out to check the hallway. The back hallway smelled wrong, like damp concrete and something sour underneath it. The lights flickered, stuttering like they were struggling to stay awake. "Hello," I called out, hating how thin my voice sounded. Nothing answered. The hallway was empty. Storage door closed. Fire exit locked. No signs of anyone else. I told myself I imagined it. Then I noticed the footprints. Bare footprints, leading toward the office, but none leading away. I backed up slowly, eyes glued to the floor, heart beating so hard I could feel it in my throat. That's when the office door slammed shut. I don't remember running, but suddenly I was back inside, door locked, chair shoved under the handle like that would help. The monitors flickered again. Camera 7 came back on. The hallway was empty. But written on the wall, right where the camera faced, were words that hadn't been there before. "You're early!" My phone buzzed. A message from my manager. "Hey, forgot to mention, don't leave the office after 2:30. Maintenance issue. I'll explain later." The timestamp read 2:47 a.m. I checked the clock. 2:16. My stomach dropped. The cameras all switched at once. Every screen showed the same feed. The office. My office. From the corner of the ceiling, I was on camera, sitting perfectly still. Not breathing, not blinking. Behind the version of me on the screen, something was standing, tall enough that its head was cropped out of frame. Its hand rested on my shoulder. My real shoulder burned with sudden pressure. I screamed and spun around. Nothing was there, but the chair creaked, as if someone had just leaned away from it. The monitors cut to black. Then text appeared across every screen. Shift change. The office door unlocked itself. I didn't move. I couldn't. Footsteps echoed in the hallway now, slow, deliberate, getting closer. With each step, the lights dimmed. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. A voice spoke. It was my voice. "Your replacement is here." The handle turned. I finally ran. I don't remember how I got outside. I don't remember unlocking anything. I just remember the cold night air burning my lungs as I sprinted across the empty parking lot. I didn't stop running until sunrise. I never went back. But last week I checked the job listing. Night shift position filled. Under the description, someone had left a review. Easy work, quiet. You're never really alone, though. The timestamp was from 3 minutes ago. And attached to the review was a security camera screenshot of me standing in the back hallway, waiting. I thought leaving meant I was safe. I was wrong. Because the first thing I saw when I woke up the next morning was my work uniform folded neatly at the foot of my bed. I live alone, I don't sleepwalk, and I burned that uniform the day I ran out of that store. The smell hit me before the fear did. Fabric smoke, melted plastic, and something old underneath it. Like dust trapped in walls for decades. My phone buzzed. A notification from an unknown number. Your shift starts in 15 minutes. I checked the time. 1:45 a.m. My blood went cold. I blocked the number. Another notification appeared instantly. Blocking doesn't count as clocking out. I tried to tell myself it was a prank, some sick joke from my manager. Maybe they found my address somehow. Then my bedroom light flicked off. The hallway light flicked on. Slow footsteps crossed my apartment floor. They stopped outside my door. A familiar voice whispered through the wood, "Don't make me come in early." I stayed frozen in bed until sunrise. Nothing else happened. That should have been the end. But every night after that, the same thing happened. 1:45 a.m., lights flickering, footsteps pacing, messages counting down the minutes until my shift. And every night, something new appeared in my apartment. Things I hadn't owned but somehow recognized. A keyring with the store logo. A cracked employee badge with my name spelled wrong. A time card stamped with dates I didn't remember working. Always signed, always approved. I stopped sleeping. On the fourth night, I stayed awake on purpose. I sat on my couch, lights on, phone recording, waiting. 1:44 a.m. Nothing. 1:45. My TV turned on by itself. Static filled the screen, then cleared into a security camera feed. The convenience store, camera 7, the back hallway. I was standing there, but older. My eyes were sunken, my skin gray, my uniform dirty like it hadn't been washed in years. I leaned toward the camera, toward me, and mouthed the words, "You didn't finish your shift." My phone vibrated in my hand. Final warning. The TV switched feeds. The office. A man sat in the chair. He was crying. I recognized him from Part 1's review photo. The new hire. The text over the screen read, "Employee number 147, training in progress." Behind him, something unfolded itself out of the shadows. Not stepped, unfolded. Like it had too many joints and wasn't sure which ones belonged where. The man in the chair screamed. The feed cut. The TV went black. My apartment door unlocked. I ran. I don't remember deciding to go back to the store, but my feet knew the way. Like muscle memory from a job I'd worked longer than I remembered. The store lights were on when I arrived. The door was unlocked. Inside, everything was spotless. Restocked. Perfect. Too perfect. The office door was open. On the desk sat a clipboard. My clipboard. On top was a schedule. My name was listed every night, no end date. I heard breathing behind me, slow, patient. "You can't leave until someone replaces you," the voice said. Not my voice this time. Older, deeper, like something learning how to speak by copying others. I turned. The thing from the cameras stood in the doorway. Up close, it wasn't solid. Parts of it flickered like bad footage. Faces phasing in and out. I recognized some of them. Employees, night shift, people who never clocked out. It reached past me and punched the time clock. The machine chimed. Shift started. Suddenly, I remembered everything. The years I'd worked there, the nights I never went home. The reason the hallway camera never showed anyone leaving. The thing smiled, with too many mouths. "Train the next one," it said. The front door chimed. A customer walked in. Young, nervous, new uniform. He looked at me and asked, "Hey, is it always this quiet at night?" I opened my mouth to warn him. But what came out was, "Yeah, nothing ever happens." The kid didn't notice anything was wrong. That was the worst part. He smiled like someone relieved to finally have a job. Adjusted his uniform. Looked around the store like it was just another place to kill 6 hours. I recognized that look. I'd worn it once. "Night shift's easy," I heard myself say again, the words sliding out of my mouth before I could stop them. Nothing really happens. The thing in the doorway didn't move, but I felt its approval like pressure behind my eyes. The clock ticked. 2:17 a.m., still stuck. The kid, his name tag said Evan, asked where the bathroom was. I pointed down the hallway. "Camera 7. He hesitated, just for a second. "Is that hallway always that dark?" he asked. I tried to warn him. What came out instead was a laugh. "Yeah, light's been busted forever." Evan nodded and walked away. The second he stepped past the camera, the screen flickered. His reflection didn't follow him. On the monitor, Evan stopped halfway down the hall and turned around slowly, head tilting like he heard something behind him. In real life, the hallway was empty. The camera version of Evan smiled. The office door closed by itself. The thing finally stepped forward. Up close, it was worse than the cameras ever showed. Pieces of it lagged behind when it moved. Faces slid across its surface like reflections in warped glass. Some of them screamed. Some of them whispered instructions. "You're learning," it said. "That's good." "What happens to him?" I asked. The thing cocked its head. "What happened to you?" The bathroom door opened. Evan walked back out, still smiling like nothing happened. But he wouldn't meet my eyes. The rest of the shift crawled by in fragments. Evan restocked shelves that never emptied. Customers came in asking for things we didn't sell, things that didn't exist anymore. Milk brands discontinued decades ago. Newspapers dated tomorrow. A man who paid in coins, stamped with faces I didn't recognize. Each time Evan rang something up, the register froze for a moment longer. Each time the door chimed, he flinched harder. At 2:17 again, the thing called us into the office. On the desk was the clipboard, 2 names, mine and Evan's. Mine was crossed out. Evan stared at it. "What does that mean?" he asked. I felt my mouth move before my thoughts caught up. "It means you're hired." The thing reached out and punched the time clock. Shift change. The pressure lifted all at once. I staggered backward, gasping like I'd been holding my breath for years. The lights brightened. The clock jumped. 2:18 a.m. Evan screamed, not loudly, just once. like he understood something all at once, and his body couldn't handle it. The thing stepped behind him and placed a hand on his shoulder. Evan's reflection on the monitor didn't match him anymore. It stood straighter, older, tired. I backed toward the front door. For the first time since I'd come back, it opened. Cold night air rushed in. "Wait," Evan said. I turned. He was looking straight at me now, really looking. "Don't leave," he said. "If you leave, it stays with me." The thing smiled, using my face. "That's how replacement works." I ran. This time the parking lot felt real. The road felt real. Time moved. When I got home, my apartment was exactly how I'd left it. No uniform, no messages, no footsteps. I slept for 12 straight hours. I thought it was over. Then I checked my phone. A notification from a familiar number. Schedule updated. Attached was a security camera image. Evan stood behind the counter, alive, working. Behind him, in the reflection of the glass, I was standing in the hallway, waiting, and the timestamp said 2:17 a.m. The image stayed burned into my eyes even after I locked my phone. Evan behind the counter, alive, working. And me, standing in the back hallway like I'd never moved, not waving, not reaching, just waiting. The timestamp read 2:17 a.m. I checked the time again, 11:42 p.m. I told myself the difference mattered, that it meant I still had time, that whatever was happening followed rules, even if I didn't understand them. Then the lights in my apartment flickered, just once. I froze. Nothing else happened. I waited, counted my breaths, listened for footsteps. Nothing. I convinced myself it was over, that the image was some delayed glitch, a final echo. I sat on the couch and stared at the wall until my eyes burned. That's when my phone buzzed again. No notification this time, just vibration, long, steady, like something holding it down. The screen lit up on its own. A live feed. Camera 7, the back hallway. I was still there, but this time I moved, slowly, deliberately. I stepped closer to the camera and looked directly into it. Into me. My mouth moved. No sound came through the feed, but I knew what I was saying. "You're late." The feed cut. My apartment hallway light turned on. I hadn't touched the switch. Footsteps began moving toward me. Not rushed, not sneaking. Practiced. Like someone walking a path they'd memorized. I stood up, heart pounding so hard, I thought I might pass out. Every instinct screamed to run, but I didn't know where running ended and working began anymore. The footsteps stopped outside my door. A pause, then a knock. 3 taps. The same rhythm the manager used. My voice spoke through the door. "Clock's running." I backed away until my legs hit the couch. "I quit," I said out loud. To no one, to everything. The door handle turned, unlocked. The door opened. I stood there, the other me. Same height, same face, same tired eyes, same uniform, but different posture. Straighter, calmer, like something had finally settled into place. "You can't quit," it said gently. "You already trained your replacement." "I left," I said. "I went home." The copy smiled. "You always do." It stepped aside and my apartment peeled away. Not violently, not suddenly, like a bad memory losing detail. The couch flattened into a counter. The walls stretched into aisles. The hum of refrigeration replaced the hum of electricity. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. I was standing behind the register. The clock above it read 2:17 a.m., Evan stood across from me, hands shaking as he scanned items that weren't there. He looked up. Relief washed over his face so fast, it hurt to see. "You came back," he whispered. "I never left," I said. The copy leaned against the hallway entrance. "Break's over!" Evan shook his head. No, you said you were leaving. You said this wasn't permanent." I remembered saying that. I remembered believing it. "That was before you learned the rules," the copy said. Evan's voice cracked. "What rules?" The copy tapped the clipboard sitting on the counter. It hadn't been there a second ago. Now it was. Rule 1. Someone must always be on shift. Rule 2. Time only moves when coverage changes. Rule 3. No one notices the missing. I felt sick. "How many are there?" I asked. The copy shrugged. "Enough." The door chimed. A customer walked in. Middle-aged, work boots, tired eyes. They looked around the store like it was familiar but wrong, like a place from a dream. "Hey," they said, "you guys open?" Evan looked at me. I didn't answer fast enough. The copy stepped forward. "All night," it said. The customer nodded and wandered into an aisle. Evan whispered, "That's not a customer." I knew, because customers didn't show up on camera 7. I glanced at the monitor. The aisle was empty. The customer's reflection lingered near the hallway. Wrong angle. Wrong shape. "You see it now," the copy said. "That's good." "Why me?" Evan asked. "Why us?" The copy's smile faded. "Because you stayed." The lights flickered. The clock ticked. 2:18 a.m. Evan gasped. The sound was raw, broken. Time had moved. The copy placed a hand on Evan's shoulder. "Congratulations," it said. "You're permanent." Evan screamed, not loudly, but like something inside him had finally snapped. The lights stabilized. The clock froze again. 2:18. The copy turned to me. "Your relief." I stared at it. "I don't want this." "You never do." The door chimed again. Another customer entered, then another, then another. Each one quieter than the last. Each one less solid. I worked the register. I don't remember choosing to. I rang items up. The receipts printed blank. The customers left or disappeared or went into the hallway. I stopped checking. At some point, Evan stopped shaking. At some point, he stopped asking questions. At some point, he stopped looking at me. The copy faded, not gone, just absorbed into me. I felt heavier, calmer. The clipboard updated. My name reappeared. Evans moved down. I caught my reflection in the office window. I was standing straighter. The door chimed. A new hire walked in. Young, nervous, uniform still stiff. "Hey," they said. "First night, anything I should know?" I looked at the clock. 2:17 a.m. I smiled. Not because I wanted to, because it fit. "Night shift's easy," I said. "Nothing really happens." Somewhere far away, a phone buzzed. Someone watched. Someone listened. Someone stayed a little longer than they planned. And the store stayed open.